and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Angelica Malin and I'm coming to you from Sibos 2023 in Toronto. Today I'm talking with Rob Magee from ISO20022 Industry Migration Australia Payments Network. Rob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Angelica, it's my pleasure.
Let's start by talking about Australia. Can you outline the background and the challenges you faced integrating ISO20022 in Australia?
Yes, so the beginning of our program goes back to 2019. The Australian Reserve Bank consulted with industry participants about the approach, what their preference was for the approach and scope for the Australian migration. And that consultation spanned over a year. Then part of the outcome of that exercise was that the Australian Payments Network that I work for was appointed as the central coordination authority for the Australian migration. So that's where we began, that's where our timeline, scope and objectives were set, and really that's sort of how we first got involved, and so our program launched in 2020.
And how did you work with all of your participants to get this step change implemented?
So there are 50 participants in the high value system in Australia, in the real-time gross settlement system, and the way it works in Australia is kind of unique compared to a lot of countries, and so we have our own unique challenges. AusPayNet is the administrator of the high value system, but we don't run the central infrastructure, which is run by the Reserve Bank. So in many countries those two roles belong to the same entity, whether it's the central bank or someone like Payments Canada, for example. So we have a sort of partnership with the Reserve Bank in the way that we get things done. And the way that we worked with our participants was very collaborative. So we involved them throughout the process. We set up a number of work streams where we brought in their subject matter expertise. We were very collaborative, but also importantly, we were very transparent with the way that we tracked their progress, and everyone could see where everyone else was up to. They supported each other, shared experience and lessons along the way. So that's kind of how we got them involved. We obviously went through probably a similar experience to many market infrastructures, where we developed requirements and then our participant banks went away and did build work. We orchestrated very controlled industry testing, so we gave people test scripts and made sure that we sort of looked at the quality of what they were doing, and so that it was really a collaborative success.
So thank you for sharing those insights. And in terms of UNIFITS, what were some of the benefits of working with UNIFITS for you and your participants?
That's been a really successful partnership for us. One of our challenges is that our 50 participants are all quite different. We've got some big international banks who do many thousands of transactions every day. And we also have quite a large number of very small sort of local office in Sydney banks who may only have 3 or 4 staff and do 5 or 6 transactions a week. So their needs are quite different from Citibank and JP Morgan and these big internationals. And so we wanted to provide a tool that would help them all be sort of consistent in the way that they could do their testing, in a way that we could sort of consistently assess the success of the testing that they were doing. It's no secret that everyone says testing is key to success in this whole ISO20022 migration globally. And we looked at a few different products, and UNIFITS looked like the best solution for our needs. It meant that we could provide a tool that meant all of our participants were testing consistently. Many of them wouldn't have had access to their own testing tools, so we were solving a problem for them in the first instance. And what was really valuable to us was the subject matter expertise that the UNIFITS team have. They worked really well with us. They looked at the specifications of our messages. They even found mistakes that we had made that we had overlooked. So that was very valuable. And something we hadn't planned to do initially, but when we were down this journey with UNIFITS, was we commissioned them to provide technical support during our kind of go live phase, and that worked really well, gave us peace of mind. We knew that if we had any really gnarly technical questions during that go live process, that they would be there to help us.
It sounds like a very successful partnership. Thank you so much for joining me today, Rob.
My pleasure.